people? It is Multiplier here, and we're gonna make a dubstep. I have my hat on backwards so that I'm in the dubstep state of mind, and I've been thinking about dinosaurs and aliens so we can make a cool stereotypical dubstep sound using Serum. So, got our initial bit, normal sound. Let's kick it into monophony so we can only trigger one note at a time. And then let's choose a wavetable, something that will sound cool. Maybe, I don't know, I can't really remember what each one does sound like. So maybe cream, because that has a K in it. And then as we move through the wavetable position, I think that will sound dubsteppy. So let's first of all map LFO1 to that. Let's have it triggering from the beginning every time. Let's have the length to be a bar long. So we want to basically have this LFO1 creating a riff or a pattern for this main modulation. So if we add in some nodes, maybe one down here, maybe two over here. And if we hold down the Option key and drag these curves around, it creates some funkadelic curves. Maybe add in a wobble over here. That'll do fine. So we have our main modulation that we can then map to stuff. We're going to do some more messing about with this wavetable. So we're going to do one of these warping options. I reckon one of the bendies will be cool. Around that second half. Should be cool. So in fact, let's reset that to the middle, or choose LFO2, trigger it from the beginning, set the same length, and we're gonna have a second set of modulation affecting the bendy. I'm gonna drag that on there. Cool little trick. See how at the moment it's going from the knob position to the right. If we do Shift Option click, then it makes the modulation happen around the knob position. So I want that in the middle, 50%. There you go. So we've got some like two different modulations happening, creating all kinds of insanity. Pretty dope. So we have a bit of a basic sound. Let's add in a sub underneath it. We're going to direct it out before we forget, so it goes, well, bypasses the filter and the effects. And what we want to do is, because the sub's really flat right now, let's create a little bit of movement. So we're going to have this same LFO affecting the level of the sub, but we don't want the sub to completely disappear, so that's cool. And if you see this little blue dot over here, you can see the level of the sub changing. So it's got a bit of movement in the sub as well. Quite a nice little detail. So cool little dubstepy sound. So let's add in a filter. Some weird phasey things, probably gonna be the right way to go. One of these guys. Pretty cool. Let's also do some pan and offset. So this changes the filter cutoff for each ear, so you create this cool stereo effect. One thing to bear in mind is normally when you do this stuff, it ruins the sub, but because the sub is directed out and we have a separate chain for that, perfectly fine. Awesome. So, right, we've got a bit of a sound going. Let's add some effects to make it even doper. So hyper dimension, let's give it a bit of space and ting. Again, the sub is bypassing all of this, so perfectly fine. Bit of reverb maybe, but easy on it. Bit of phaser action as well might be quite nice. In fact, cool little trick that I saw Steve Duda and Seamless talk about. We set the rate to 0, and then we can actually set one of these modulations to the depth. That way we can control the phaser depth. So you see right now, because the rate's on 0. If I set the mix really high, you'll hear it. So what we can do is, I reckon, LFO1 on the depth. And then we'll ease back on the mix a lot. You see this little dot of the depth moving around? Super dope. So there you go. There's a quite interesting dubstep sound that took all of not very long at all to make. And hopefully there's some cool tips and tricks. I've been Multiplier. Kaplow!